obsessed Substack, and as many people on Twitter have called me, the senior deranged idiot at the Daily Beast.
I didn't know that's what they were calling you.
They are. And I am here with my boss, Joanna Coles, to talk about a show that we have a lot of opinions on, The Pitt, which just aired its season finale this weekend.
So have we put a call out to all the pit bullies out there?
The Pitt bullies. That is actually like, I don't like the context behind that moniker, but I love that title. It's so clever to me.
Well, and also this audience is passionate about this show. It's not often that you see such a reaction when you have an opinion about a show, that people bandy together and they come at you wherever you are to disagree. When I came on the show and said I'd quit at season 2, episode 5, I think I've never had more emails about a single subject, and so much online fervor, I think, let's call it.
And it's so wild to me because usually that kind of thing is reserved for like soap operas or something where there's like romance is just ship, or, you know, or a genre that inspires like a very passionate fan base. The fact that this is a medical show starring Noah Wyle and has everyone just up in a tizzy is really, really strange to me.
Well, it may be just that there's, you know, what are the other big shows that people are watching? And also it's got HBO values, so it's incredibly well produced, and it's so reassuring to see a show like that. Having said that, I loved season 1, and at episode 5, I was like, this is too much like sitting in a real waiting room, which I do not want to do, and I don't want to feel like I'm ill. And I felt like that when I was watching the show.
Yeah. Well, we have a lot to talk about with The Pitt, but
we do.
Right now I want to throw to the trailer of the show, just so we can have some context for all the...
We got a dead body.
Oh, what was his chief complaint?
Hemorrhoids and constipation.
No shit.
Hence the constipation.
Almost out?
Is this where you trying to talk me out of going?
Me? No, not a chance. Why, are you having second thoughts?
Nope.
No?
Nope.
Oh, she's seizing.
Okay, shut up.
We need to get this baby out right now.
I am fully capable of
No,
handling
you are not fully capable, and you know it.
You know what I saw in rehab? I saw a bunch of guys just like you. The only difference is they've accepted that they need help.
The most important things I've ever done in my life have been in this hospital. But it is killing me.
So that was just a quick overview of all the nonsense that we just went through this season.
Right. Okay, good, because I've missed 10 episodes in this season.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
Well, as you mentioned before...
But in fact, I don't think I missed anything, because I came back on 10 episodes later and not much had changed.
Well, that was actually my biggest pet peeve about this season, was that it just felt so monotonous.
Right.
We were just on a treadmill that didn't go anywhere.
Which, if you work in a hospital, I'm sure they will tell you that's sometimes what it feels like.
I'm sure it's very authentic to what the experience of working in hospitals is like. As television, I was not inspired by that.
Well, my older son called me and said, Mum, if you want to understand America, you have to watch The Pitt. And I was like, really, Thomas? Really? He was like, yeah, it's got a slice of life, a slice of everybody in there. And I was like, yeah, I'm not sure that's true.
So I'm gathering that, you know, having missed a bunch of episodes the last time we talked about The Pitt, the finale did not inspire confidence in you.
Well, I actually think there is an issue here, and the issue is Noah Wyle. That Noah Wyle is as far as I understand, he's like director, producer,
Creator,
actor.
writer.
Yeah, and it's too much Noah Wyle. He needs to share the stage with someone, and I still think he's not really a leading man. I hate to say it. I think he's a very good number 2. I don't think he's a leading man. And also he doesn't really have for me, I mean, I loved him in ER, which ages me or dates me. I actually don't think he's a real leading man. I don't think he's attractive enough, which I know probably shouldn't matter.
Well,
but
I would disagree with that.
Well, you're allowed to disagree. but I actually don't think he's a leading man. I think he's a very good number 2, and for me, that's the weakness of the show. And he doesn't have the range over the episodes. I get when he's like, here I am stressed. He's always stressed.
Yeah.
It's like, just take a week off already.
My issue, so the take a week off already is my issue with the show. I think that he is charismatic. I think he's a great leading man, actually. I'll have to disagree with you on that point. But again, it's the repetitiveness and the monotony of the show. Like in the finale, everyone is asking him, like, why the heck are you still here? He's going through this very dark and very empathetic suicidal spiral during the end of the season. It's going on for a few episodes, and it all comes to a head in the finale when everyone is trying to confront him and be like, what are you still doing here? What is your problem? What emotions are you going through? And at that point, I was just like, yeah, seriously, dude, like, why are you still here? Your shift is over. Get out of here. Like, it was
Go home
becoming
already.
exasperated for me.
And I didn't really buy that. I mean, having said that, I didn't see the 10 episodes in between, but I didn't actually buy the arc of, oh, wait a minute. I now understand why someone's put a computer on our desk for us to see the comments, right? Because we want questions from people. I was thinking they were putting it there so they could, yes, sorry about that. Okay, well, it's live. What do you want me to do? It's live. Okay, so we're going to come back to ask your questions, attack us. Is Noah Wyle a leading man? Do you think he's a leading man? I'm not sure. I just don't think he is actually, which is, I just don't think he has the emotional range. He's always the same. He's always on the cusp. There isn't enough humor in the show. And the humor that there is I think, kind of obvious, like the no shit thing they do in the trailer. Yeah. Although I did love the fact that someone had died in the ER and they had to pick him up and pretend he wasn't dead.
But what you're hitting on is something that a lot of fans are angry about this season, which was last year, he was basically like hospital Jesus. He was the most earnest, noble man who's ever walked the face of the earth, a great mentor to all these young doctors. And this season, he is cantankerous, he is bitchy, he's lashing out. He's pretty much the villain of the season, which is
I think it's because he's acting, producing, directing, and just doing too much. Bring in someone else, Noah. Bring in someone else. Share the burden.
But that's also hitting on something that a lot of fans are, I think, unfairly reading into, which is the fact that because he has so much going on behind the scenes, that they are assuming that the character choices that Dr. Robbie's making are somehow endorsed by this creative team. So when Dr. Robbie is lashing out at, let's say, a woman of color, that means that Noah Wyle and the creative team behind the Pitt are racist or misogynists. And
that's ridiculous. It's about drama, right? The drama is not necessarily reflective of what's going on in the production team.
But it's become this like very strange thing about fandom these days, where they read into those creative choices as some sort of moral belief behind the creative team. And it's become this phenomenon that there have been so many articles written about this. I wrote down some of the headlines of like what some of these articles are called, because they're truly insane. One is fans are proving it's possible to be bad at watching TV. Are the pit bullies real? Diagnosing the newest fandom menace. Can everyone just be normal? The rise of toxic fandom. These are all about the Pitt. Again, just like a medical TV show starring Noah Wyle has inspired this kind of parasocial discourse.
Well, it's interesting, and maybe people are reading into it as well because he's such a dominant figure in the show and clearly behind the scenes. But I don't really have much to say about that. I think you have to be able to separate the team that's creating something from the drama they're creating. I mean, either the art itself stands on its own or it doesn't.
And it's a weird thing too, where the people who are having those opinions are then being bullied by people who think their opinions are crazy, and it's become this whole back and forth that's become very ugly on social media.
Well, what can I say? I don't like the Pitt enough that I'm reading all the social media about it. Having said that, I thought, oh, maybe I'll go back and watch some episodes. So I'm slightly I'm thinking maybe I watched the first 5 episodes when I was tired or something, and I might be ready to give it a choice. But I do think there's a problem with the casting, and that it doesn't. And it may be that because you're focused on the residents and the medical students, that there isn't enough variety in those characters and in that age group. But I just don't think it has the dramatic range that I would like. And seeing someone giving, being cut open to have a C-section after they've been seizing isn't a substitute for emotional drama in a show. It's certainly dramatic, and there's no question that they've had hugely dramatic moments in the show, but that doesn't actually create an emotional richness, which for me is what's missing from the show.
And I think that the people involved in the show thought they had that because they had this very dark storyline of Dr. Ravi going through this spiral, this very depressive episode. You watch, I know you haven't seen them, but you watch like the last 3 or 4 episodes and you're basically like, is this guy going to kill himself? Every episode, you're like, I'm sure it's going to happen right now. And then they give us this set piece in that finale, which that pregnancy, cutting open the belly, the maha of it all is one of the coolest, I don't know if cool is the right word, but one of the most impressive medical procedures I've ever seen done on television.
Really? Because I feel like a lot of people are saying that, and I feel like every medical show always has some pregnant mother who's about to die, and they have to dive
that
in to save the
graphicness,
baby.
like the showing the actual surgery. I don't think they've actually done before in other shows.
Maybe not, but it's all over YouTube. I feel like people are posting their own.
Well, I guess I'm not really into the
feel
YouTube
like-
rabbit hole of pregnancy
I mean, how
surgeries.
many more times do we have to see someone about to go through a crisis birth? It's the only thing that ever gets reflected on television in terms of how people give birth. I like the idea of a wild pregnancy. I hadn't heard that term before, which I thought was interesting. But and we're not faulting the medical procedures or the accuracy of any of that. I just think he's the only character that's really allowed to have much of an emotional life. For example, Dana, the head nurse, who I really find appealing as a character because she's kind of salty and she keeps the whole thing running, and we all know women like that.
Yeah.
I feel like she's not allowed to have a real emotional life. She's allowed to sort of throw out a wisecrack every now and then from the corner of her mouth as if she's actually from a show in the 40s.
Like a screwball comedy.
Yeah, kind of like, here's to you, kid. It's that kind of a thing. She's a terrific actress. Where did she come from? I like everything about her, but I didn't feel she developed as a character. And I think the character development on the show is weak, actually.
I agree with you overall about the character development. I will say with Dr. Dana, because the actress, Catherine Lanasa.
Wait a minute, did I give the wrong name? I mean the blonde head nurse.
Yeah,
Isn't
Dana.
that Dana?
Dana.
Right.
Yeah. So the actress, Catherine Lanasa, won the Emmy last year.
Oh, did she? Good.
And I was a huge fan of that because I love her on the show.
She's the one that gets attacked by a patient at the end of
she's
the
punched,
first season. Yeah.
I do feel like this year they finally gave her a few scenes of really juicy material.
Okay.
There's an episode where she's doing a rape kit with the victim.
Oh, I saw. Oh, okay.
And that's really juicy. I think her confrontation with Dr. Rabi in the last few episodes is really meaningful. I feel like she actually got some meat this season.
Okay, so then I don't know what I'm talking about,
Yeah.
and I shouldn't be saying this, but she strikes me as really potentially rich as a character. And the episodes I saw, and as I said, I gave up at episode 5. I didn't feel she had an emotional arc that kept me engaged.
So let's talk about the finale. I feel like you're going to have a lot of thoughts about the final scene, which is the group of doctors and nurses
The
sitting
United Colours of Benetton at the end with the kind of, what do we think about America, going up. And of course, they couldn't have known that when they shot that, it was going to be shown against the backdrop of an actual war in Iran.
I mean, I'm a sap, so obviously I was just like crying while watching that scene because I cry at everything. But then I went on Twitter afterwards and saw everyone mocking it as like liberal propaganda slop kind of stuff, which I never thought about it that way. But then I was surprised that there would be something in the pit that could be that politicized.
Well, I think there was a confusion, wasn't there? I mean, what was interesting about the characters was it's obviously very moving to watch fireworks. It's July the 4th. Are they playing the Star Spangled Banner?
There's some sort of
It's an Americana
big
America
going on, yeah.
Yeah, and it's hard not to feel moved by that. It's incredibly moving to think of America. Even at times of peril, it's still a very moving scene. And then you saw their conflicted, I guess, their conflictions, is that a word? Their conflict as they stand together watching this.
Yeah.
And of course, in real life, we have a war, so that amps up the emotion of that particular scene. But you see, they all have their own complicated relationship with America, which is probably true of a lot of HBO viewers, I would think.
I'm going to tell you
Or this current version of America that we're living.
Yeah, I'm going to tell you some trivia that I think you're going to find hilarious. According to reports, so the Pitt only has a few weeks, a few months to shoot at the actual hospital location, and then they shoot the rest of the season on a soundstage.
Right.
So they had to shoot that episode before the final episodes were written.
Okay.
So the actors sitting on the roof, looking emotional, they're all staring at the fireworks and they're crying and they're teary-eyed and all of that. They didn't know why they were emotional.
Oh, really? They didn't know it was July the 4th?
No, they knew it was July the 4th, but they didn't know what had happened in the hospital to inspire them to be so beat down or exhausted or exasperated and emotional. They were just told to stand on the rooftop
and look emotional.
Yeah, just be misty-eyed for some reason.
I'm so impressed by actors who have to act out of sequence. I mean, I know that's how shows and movies are made, but I just find it so impressive.
Usually you have a full script beforehand, so you're acting out of sequence, but at least you know what the character is, or why the character is feeling what they're feeling. They were just on that rooftop crying for no reason.
Wow. Okay, well, that made the scene more. I mean, my reaction was, this is a bit hokey.
Yeah.
I'm afraid. But
which I agree with, but also, again, because I'm a sap, it got me.
Right. Well, that's fair. That's fair. It's allowed to get you. It's not quite. I mean, I feel like I know it's John Wells, and I know he's a great television producer. It doesn't have the kind of. I would like a little bit more Aaron Sorkin sprinkled in there, a little bit more West Wing.
I think they tried that this season with the ICE storyline, which, according to reports, was dialed down a little bit. But still, what they showed was pretty impactful, in my opinion. ICE agents taking a prisoner,
right?
Not prisoner, a detainee, to be treated, and then one nurse, a male nurse, intervenes with them and is thrown down to the floor, arrested, and sent to one of the imprisonment camps. And it was horrifying and harrowing. Dr. Robbie, of course, gets on his soapbox and gives a very impassioned, saintly speech about how he doesn't appreciate these guys being in the ER. That to me was going towards that direction of the Aaron Sorkin lane, and I think the show would benefit from going more in that direction.
Okay, and the show would definitely benefit from some romance, guys. Let's have some romance. I mean, what's wrong with a bit of romance? People fall in love at work. That's what happens, especially when you're under pressure like that.
They had a weird
I'm
thing.
Very surprised there isn't more romance.
There was a weird reference at the beginning of the season to the fact that Robbie might have been sleeping with one of the social workers.
Right.
And then she just disappears.
Yeah, and there was also, in the first season, was the suggestion that he'd been sleeping with someone and they had a kid together, or maybe they didn't. And then there was the hint that he was sleeping with the black doctor who got pregnant and then she lost the baby. So it was like, what is his life? And then, of course, in the finale episode, he's talking to one of the doctors, and he says, I thought at this stage I would be married and I'd have a kid in college and a house in the country or whatever.
I mean, don't we all?
Yeah, exactly. Well, I do have those. Does that make me super bougie?
I guess
makes me super bougie. Well, I don't have kids in college. Happily, they're beyond college, and they are.
I'm the sad single person identifying with Dr. Robbie in the situation.
But you don't do emergency C-sections, or do you? Do you think you could do one now you've watched it on television?
I don't. But that reminds me of this insane thing that Nicole Kidman...
I think I'm going to put you down as our emergency medicine. Yeah, our emergency medicine contact on the floor should someone need something.
Nicole Kidman right now is in a TV show, I forget what it's called. I think it's on the Paramount Network, where she plays a autopsy surgeon.
Right.
And she told press that she studied so hard to play this character that she thinks that she could now perform an autopsy.
Wow.
And I'm like,
I would like to be autopsied by Nicole Kidman. When it comes, Nicole, I would like you to be the person that cuts me open.
I would not like that. I would prefer someone who's not a Hollywood actress who actually knows what they're doing, and not someone who
You're
like.
going to be dead at that point. Who cares? I'd just like them to have great hair and great skin, and that's Nicole.
Yeah.
And be tall and look fabulous in a white coat.
She's also apparently studying to be a death doula. So
Oh,
I'm
she
imagining
is?
my last my last moments on Earth looking up, and Nicole Kidman is there saying, "Go to the light."
I think that Nicole Kidman could probably earn as much money as a death doula, because who wouldn't want Nicole Kidman as the last person they saw?
So we come to this place for death, not for magic.
All
for
right,
death.
darling, you're going to be fine. When you get up there, just ask St. Peter to push you in the right direction. I don't know what accent that was, but I think it was kind of Australian,
Listen,
or maybe it wasn't Australian.
And this time we
I'm
do-
having difficulty seeing the live chat. Are you seeing the live chat? I can see that lots
I can
of
see people have joined.
joined.
I can't see any
but
comments.
I can't see any comments. Why is that?
People, are you not commenting?
Add your comments,
Oh,
people.
okay. Jeffrey Richton is saying, I think it does have a broad emotional range given the depth and the wealth of the supporting cast. And Paul Frankel is saying, that's correct, R.E. Noah W. His range of expression stretches from the bug-eyed consternation to bug-eyed consternation, which is a little bit like what people used to say about Tom Cruise. Tom Cruise had two expressions, where's my car? And there's my car. I think Noah
never
Wyle
heard
has
that before.
more than that. I just worry that here's where I think art might be reflecting real life, which is he's just got too much on. So he's producer, he's director, he's actor, he's creator, and he's emergency room doctor doing assessing everybody, right? So maybe that's just Noah's thing, that he's always overwhelmed.
Well, here's the thing that I think he nails, and I think it's because he has all those hats that he's wearing, is that on that show, he looks exhausted.
He does look exhausted, but don't you think that's because he always looks on the verge of tears too?
Yeah, which, I mean, if I was on hour 14 of my shift and everyone was dying on my watch and I had to be monitoring all these intern idiots, I would also be on the verge of tears and needing a nap.
Fair, which is not what happens, I hasten to add, at the Daily Beast. I did like the way they play up the fatigue. I thought that was good. And what's the name of Santos? I thought Santos was good at playing, just being so fatigued that she was
Yes,
snapping
when
at
she's
everybody.
trying to articulate her notes into her
Yep.
voice recorder and falling asleep.
Yeah.
I felt that.
And what did we think about Mel King's, is it Mel King?
Yeah.
Mel King's sister going off with the boyfriend. Do we think the boyfriend is taking advantage?
No, I actually thought that was a really interesting and refreshing storyline when it comes to people in that community, because we rarely allow them, at least on television, to have agency. It's always about rescuing someone, or the storyline's usually about the caretaker, not the person themselves. And the fact that they actually gave her sister an inner life and things that she's doing, and made the point to both Mel and the viewers that, like, you don't get to discount my experience as a human because you're taking care of me or you feel bad about me. I actually get to live a full sexual life.
Okay,
That was really interesting.
Oh, interesting, because I interpreted that because you didn't see the boyfriend. At least I don't think I didn't see the boyfriend in the episode I was watching. Maybe we saw him.
We
in
don't see him
previous
at all, yeah,
episodes.
no.
Okay, I thought, because we don't see the boyfriend and his parents are mysteriously not there, that we are being set up for a storyline where she is taken advantage of. And it's slightly foreshadowed by the rape kits in the episode where Dana shouts at the police people for not collecting the rape kits.
I can see why you would think that, but then we find out later that it really is a relationship, and
Do we though? I thought that was ambiguous.
No, I think the point of the storyline was to tell Dr. Mel that she can't just be a helicopter big sister and have everything invested in caretaking, and to allow her sister to actually live her life. That was my interpretation of it.
Okay, mine was that the sister is about to have a terrible time.
Oh no.
And then we're going to
That's
come
really
back
dark.
in season 3 and find that the sister has been taken captive.
That's really dark.
Well, it would be drama, which is what I like from a television show.
Well, the opposite drama is what happens in the credit scene, which I'm not sure if you watched, but we see Dr. Santos and Mel sort of relieve all of their tension at a karaoke bar where they sing an Alanis Morissette song, which I think we have a clip of now if we're going to watch that.
Okay.
I wish nothing but the best for you both. An older version of me, is she perverted like me? Will she go down on you in a theater? Does she speak eloquently? And would she have your baby? I'm sure she'd make a really excellent mother. Cause I love that she gave her to make it, and they were able to make it, and I'm just open wide. No! And every time you speak her name, the snow plays over me.
That's such an odd couple to be, and the last scenes of the episode are meant to like make you shocked that they're going to hang out together.
Mm-hmm.
And I also felt that way. Like to me, like Santos reaching a olive branch to Dr. Mel didn't make any sense to me because they would never hang out in real life.
Well, except I think they were both just lonely and tired after work, weren't they? I think that's how people do hang out.
But I'm lonely and tired after work every day. I don't reach out to the people here who I don't have anything in common with to go hang out.
All right, we have a question here from Up the Rebels. What did we think of the young man's "I want to hurt women" storyline? Do you remember that? Was that this season?
Beginning of this season, yeah.
Right.
Or no, that was last season, wasn't it?
Was it last season? I can't remember because all the episodes feel the
They all
same.
blur together. They're all happening in the same day.
I think it might have been the first season, or maybe it was the second season. I thought that was actually quite
No,
a good
it was the first
storyline.
season. It was the
The
mother
mother comes in pretending
right.
that she's ill because she wants to lure her son into the hospital so they can give him a psych evaluation.
I thought that storyline was interesting, not necessarily because of what the man was going through or the boy was going through, but because of the dynamic that it surfaced with Dr. McKay and who was treating the mother and Dr. Robbie, where Dr. Robbie was like, you're overstepping your bounds by getting this involved in the situation.
Right.
And she couldn't sort of leave her baggage behind the door, and she felt like she had to. And I feel like that's when the show gets the most interesting, when the caretakers, the doctors, the nurses, their personal lives are motivating how they are doing the care. I find that to be really fascinating because otherwise it's just sort of, in a sort of crass way, just like sterile. Like, yeah, these people are coming in with their problems and their surgeries and they have to be treated, but you don't really care about them until you also care about why the doctor is so invested in it, if that makes any sense.
Yeah, I think she's an interesting character too. I like her and I think she's a very good actress. It's a good question. I thought the storyline was provocative because what do you do if a young man comes in looking like that and you discover that he's saying and articulating these things out loud when we're all terrified of anything that could signal a school shooting or a mass or a spree killing in some way? So I thought it was a really complicated, interesting storyline, actually. In fact, it was one of the better storylines that I think has come out of the pit. How do you handle that? And also that frankly, the emergency services and ER rooms in particular have become a dumping ground for all of these problems because we don't know how else to treat them.
Especially mental health problems.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
I think the show has done a really great job of spotlighting just how dire the mental health crisis is because there are not resources for treating it without just, like you said, dumping them in the ER, which is not the most effective way of handling any of that.
Right. And although there are mental health resources, I mean, actually, someone was telling me that of the homeless people that sleep on the street in New York, it's very common for them to have been visited perhaps twice or three times in one evening by the patrols that go around with social workers and some police to actually see if they want to go into a shelter, that there is help available. It's just that people aren't in a state where they're able to accept it a lot of the time.
And I think that's great because we live in New York City, but I'm not sure that in a place like Pittsburgh that those resources exist or in other smaller metropolitan areas around the country.
I don't know. I don't know enough about it, actually, but I suspect there are some resources available. It's just people are resistant to them. The people that need them the most are often resistant to them. And then you're in a kind of, how do we handle this situation? And if it's then spirals, they come to the ER or they get picked up by the cops.
Yeah. And I think we're approaching the end of our time, but the one last thing I wanted to ask you about, which is one of the more, I think, polarizing plot points that happened in the finale, which is Dr. Alashimi. And the way that Dr. Robbie treated her after she came clean about her seizures, but came clean also with the sort of backup of the fact that she had seen a neurologist. She's been cleared for work. She is confident, and her neurologist is confident that she can do her job. And Dr. Robbie, instead of taking that at face value, loads on her, tells her that he thinks that she's being irresponsible and that he is going to report her if she doesn't report herself. How do you feel about that?
Well, and then she says she's had 2 seizures in one day. So she hasn't had a seizure for a year, and then she has 2 seizures in one day.
Well, that's what happens when you spend a day with Dr. Robbie.
Yeah, in fact, he's going to start self-seizing, I think. I guess the question is, would you want her to be your doctor if you checked into the ER with some kind of non-specific but urgent problem?
So my counter to the question is it any of my business what her medical issues are if she's been cleared to work by a professional?
Well, Dr. Robbie is second opinioning the professional that gave her the all clear, right? And saying, you know, you're not ready to do this. And I think the moment in the car where she, spoiler alert, where she bursts into tears on her way out of the hospital is the way that the show is indicating that she knows she shouldn't be doing this. Is it a way of writing her out of the show?
No, I think she'll be back. My issue with that scene is that I think they wrote in her seizures and that meltdown at the end.
There's a lot of seizures in the last episode, right?
But I think they wrote them in as another way of, again, lionizing Dr. Robbie. Like, he doesn't leave
truth.
He doesn't leave the hospital even though his shift is over because he's the only person who could possibly run that hospital. And if he leaves, it's all going to go to hell. And that's why he's staying there so long. And that's why he's pushing against Dr. Alashimi and her justification that she's been cleared to work. And I think that character was so interesting on her own before we knew anything about the seizures that they didn't need to interject that just to have another reason why we think of Dr. Robbie as this infallible hero.
Interesting. I thought one thing they did do, she starts off the series looking really fabulous, and by the end of the series she looks absolutely haggard. And I would be having seizures too. Yeah, I don't really have an opinion on that, Kevin, surprisingly. I think I wouldn't want her as my doctor. If she's had 2 seizures in one day, I'm kind of on Dr. Robbie's side. But I don't buy that Dr. Robbie would have gotten this desperate by the finale. I think his colleagues would have intervened. I don't know when we should find out what the statistics are for people, for doctors actually having doctors dying by suicide, or I don't know whether or not they're higher than the population because they have access to things, which is usually, it's like farmers are very high because they have access to shotguns. Police are very high because they have access to guns. So I don't know whether or not if you're a doctor, you're at a higher likelihood of dying by suicide because you've got the means available. But I would have thought that his colleagues would have made it clearer by now. I mean, I know they've been struggling to, even though I haven't seen the episodes.
I mean, again, that to me, I keep calling it exhausting. It was like 4 episodes in a row of like, he would see one doctor and the doctor would like have a heart-to-heart, like, I can tell you're going through something. And then he would see a nurse and the nurse would be like, I can tell you're going through something. And then he would see another doctor, I can tell you're going through something.
Well, he is going through something.
Oh my God, like, yes, he's going through something. We get it. Like, I mean, I don't want to be insensitive, but it's either like, leave the hospital or do it already.
Yeah, I think he's going through something because he's acting, directing, producing, creating.
Yeah.
More people. We need more people.
Well, the last thing I want to say, because you had mentioned how good Dr. Alashimi had looked at the beginning of the season. I recently saw an interview with her where she was just like, sort of like shuffling her hair around and just like judging it. Because she looked fabulous.
Well, she is a fabulous looking woman.
Gorgeous. That hair is amazing.
Well, she seems fabulous. Just by the end of the finale, she's looking absolutely haggard.
Yeah.
As you would if you've just had 2 seizures in a day.
I mean, it's how I look after 8 hours in this office. I'm kidding.
I was just thinking, I'm a bit like Dr. Robbie, at least on a Friday. I'm often the last person here, and I like to sort of walk around the office and just see what's going on and check that I have a bead on things, even though there's nobody here. I'm like Dr. Robbieing it.
You're Dr. Robbieing it. I'm gonna call that out next time I see it.
Okay. Well, you're never here to see it. point
I'm
is
here
there's
on
no
Fridays
one here.
sometimes.
Yeah, most people aren't here on a Friday. There are a few of us, a few stalwarts here. I know. I see you here on a Friday at times. All right. Do we have any last comments? I think we answered the last comment, which was the young man wants to hurt you storyline.
Well, listen, Joanna, I love picking your brain about TV anytime I get to do it, so this has been really fun for me.
Well, you have encyclopedic knowledge of all things, so I come in very much as a regular viewer.
Yeah, well, it takes up the parts of my brain that should be used for something more useful, but...
You know what I am enjoying, which I would love to come back and discuss with you? Imperfect Women.
Oh, I've seen the whole season.
Oh, you've seen the whole season?
Yeah.
I'm waiting for the last episodes to drop. It's torturing me.
You'll...
How good is Joel Kinnaman? He's so good. He's so good.
Not that it matters, but so hot.
Very, very hot.
Oh,
but
my
he's
God.
a leading man.
Yeah.
He's a leading man to me.
Well...
I mean, he in that role, in Dr. Robbie's role, would, I think, bring so
Let's
much
recast
more.
the show.
Let's recast the show for season 3.
Yeah.
He would just bring so much more energy, tension. He's just so wound up, and you don't know which way he's going to go. Whereas Noah, you know where he's going.
Yeah. Well, a shameless plug, I interviewed the creator of Imperfect Women for a spoiler conversation about the finale. So that's
I need to watch it. Has it run yet?
It'll come out next week when the finale airs.
Okay,
so.
well, I think I've got maybe one episode to watch, but Kate Mara is fantastic. Kerry Washington is brilliant. It's beautifully shot. It's everything I want in a thriller.
The last few
and
scenes of the
also
episode are going to
Elizabeth
throw
Moss.
your mind. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, they are good, because I'm like back and forth. Who is it? I think I know who it is, but I might be wrong. It's so good. Oh, and of course, Corey Stoll. It's brilliantly cast. Corey Stoll is an unusual, almost leading man. Joel Kinnaman just brings the looks, but Corey Stoll is do you remember him from House of Cards?
I interviewed him once at a cafe in Chelsea, and I arrived and he was sitting there he had his legs crossed, he had a book and a beer, and I was like, this is the coolest man I've ever seen.
So good. I must dig out that interview. And Elizabeth Moss is terrific.
Yeah, she's so good in it.
Possibly sinister. So you know who did it.
Mm-hmm.
Ooh, I want to make a fool of myself by guessing who it is.
We'll talk about it after this.
I know it's not the child. I know it's not the son. At one point I thought, oh, it's the son, but it can't be the son because he's Kerry Washington's ally, Ellie's ally. Alibi, I mean.
We'll talk about this after.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't want to spoil for anyone else.
Okay.
But listen, everyone, for tuning in. Thank you so much for listening to our demented thoughts about the Pitt.
Kevin, thank you for having me, and Pit Bullies, bring it.